like taking my hair out like this. It reminds me like when I was 16 in the Bronx, running up and down the block. A crazy little girl who used to be wild and no limits, all dreams.
Hi everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel and welcome back if you've been here before. My name is Alexis and on this channel I talk about important lessons and takeaways that I get from viral topics and viral conversations. Today I wanted to talk about J-Lo and a few things that I have learned from her very lengthy dating history. I mean, mommy has been around the block, no pun intended. And before I get into my points, let me say this video is centered on J-Lo, not because she's a woman, but because she's been talked about lately. And the reason why I have to say this is because we as a society have a huge double standards when it comes to dating and experimenting. We are very hard on women. We are always beating on women regardless of how short or long their dating history is, in a way that we are not on men. So we judge women a lot in a way that we don't judge men. So this video is not to poke fun at J-Lo, is not to insult her in any ways, it's not to be judgmental towards her, because I could have also done it for the man. The reason why I'm making this video today is because J-Lo is the one being talked about as of recently. She's the one who recently filed for divorce from her most recent ex, Ben Affleck, who I believe when it comes to pop culture, she's a little more popular than he is. I think a lot of people have forgotten about Ben Affleck. I mean, we know who he is, but he's not really on our TV screens the way J-Lo is, regardless of how people might feel about her. So I'm here today to talk about her because she's on the public eye more than ever, and I've learned a few things from the way she's moving. So with that being said, let me get into my points. But before then, if you all would please go ahead and hit the like button, subscribe because why not, is free, there's really nothing to lose, and comment and let me know that you stopped by, and let's get into the video. Lesson number one, I think it's very important to know who you are, especially as a woman. I feel like the way J-Lo moves sometimes, I think she doesn't really know who she is, or she's trying to go with the wind, and I don't know if it's necessarily working for her. And I can understand why she's in this predicament, because when you're a famous person, your entire life is based on what people expect from you. I mean, our lives in general, us regular people with jobs and family and just society, friends in general, we sometimes have to factor in what our surroundings are going to think of us before we act or before we say certain things. It's actually worse when it comes to celebrities. You have millions of fans that you have to consider. You have record label executives, you have staff, makeup artists, managers that you have to consider with every decision you make. So I can see how for famous people it is very hard to get to know who you are when you grow up in the limelight and everybody have a say in your life, and there's really no room for you to become your own person. Everything is based on what the people around you want. I can see how that can really affect someone like J-Lo growing into her womanhood. So I know that us regular people, like people who are not famous, cannot compare ourselves to her. But if there's one thing that I've learned from just J-Lo in general and her entire situation when it comes to her very lengthy dating history and just the way she's been moving on the public eye lately, like for example her Amazon Prime documentary that was a flop. She continuously go back to a time in her career where she was praised. I feel like she sometimes doesn't know who she is, or she doesn't know how to present herself as a better, more grown version of her. She just has to find what's gonna pay the bills so she can give it to us so we can buy into it. So for us regular people, it's easier for us to take some time and get to know who we are. She's a little more unlucky in that area. There's so many factors to consider, but if there's one thing that I've learned from her, and I think us, women who are not in the public eye should do as we're dating, before we're dating especially, is to take a moment to know who we are, so nobody can knock off our game or we do not get lost into what everybody else expects from us. We know who we are and we proceed into our relationships with that knowledge, that greater sense of self. Number two, you cannot fix men. I don't know, something about her gives me, I want to fix a man, I want to heal a man back into life. This is no shade, obviously, to her as a Latino woman, but I know I've been around a lot of Latina women who pride themselves of being the perfect wife, the type that take care of a man, that can bring a man back to life when he's sick and things like that. Like, from what I know from the Latino culture, they really like to take care of their men. They cook, they clean, they do everything pretty much for the men that they're with. Like, they have a motherly nature where they search for problems to fix in a man. So I'm not saying that this is just based on her ethnicity. Like, I'm not saying that J Lo goes from men to find a man to fix because she's Latina. But I think that those are some of the behaviors that I've noticed with a lot of Latina women. From what I've heard, the Latina community don't mess with her like that. But nonetheless, she's still a Latina who grew up in New York. If you are the type of person who fixes a man, sooner or later you will either be tired of playing the mommy role, or the man in the relationship will be tired of looking like the son or being treated like the son. Eventually it's gonna clash. Now, I don't know the ins and outs of JLo's relationship and what goes on behind closed doors, but every time I see a woman like JLo going from relationship to relationship without much of a break between each relationships, it's almost as if she gets into relationships trying to be somebody's mother. Now, she has dated a few people that were not on her level, financially, work wise as well. When you do better than the men in the relationships, 9 times out of 10 it's gonna backfire. And it's not gonna backfire in your favor as a woman, because I feel like a lot of men already have it in your mind that they're better than women. So if they get into relationships where the power dynamic doesn't match that, it sometimes clashes. I think this is what's going on with her relationship, where she was out earning the man. They couldn't handle her success, but then she tries to get into relationships with men who are equal to her financially and work wise, career wise, and then she finds out that she cannot run their lives the way she might, or she was able to run the lives of the men who didn't do as good as her. That's how I'm looking at it from the outside. Obviously, I could be wrong. Nobody should be getting in relationships to fix the other person. That's the vibe that I get from JLo. Number three, always work on your self-esteem if you're gonna date. Miss JLo gives me, I have low self-esteem and I have a lot of insecurities, and I need to be with a man to help me conceal those insecurities. Like, she really gives me that impression. Or any woman who goes from relationship to relationship to relationship, it's like she doesn't have a mind of her own or an identity. All of those things contribute to very low self-esteem and insecurities, where you constantly have to be with somebody, be in a relationship to have other people's stamp of approval. Not just the approval of the man you with, but the approval of your surrounding. We know we live in a community, in a society where relationships are very encouraged. I mean, sometimes I've been around people who, without even knowing me, they ask me if I have a boyfriend or a husband. Romantic relationships are very much encouraged, especially for women. When it comes to men, we understand that they're players, but for women, relationships are encouraged, especially as of a certain age. So we always have to make sure that our self-esteem is high enough and we are working on our insecurities before getting in relationships, because if not, we might be taking those insecurities to the next relationship and it fails again, and we don't take time to really figure out what happened in the relationship that failed. We just keep moving from relationship to relationship. Please do not do like Miss Jennifer Lopez and go from relationship to relationship to relationship. I wonder if she really took a moment to ever study herself and her fears, her insecurities, and why she does some of the things she does. Like, I wonder if she ever studied those things about herself. And I'm curious to see what her next relationship is gonna be. I have a feeling that Jennifer Lopez doesn't take the time to think about those things. She just keep moving from relationship to relationships. Number four, I don't believe in spinning the block, which is what JLo did with Ben Affleck. And the reason why is because if a relationship didn't work at the time, it didn't work for a reason. There's no reason to come back to relationships that didn't work. I believe wholeheartedly we need to move forward and start new relationships with new people. And all we can do is take the lessons that we've learned from the previous relationships and take it to the new relationship and make sure that we don't make the same mistakes over again. Miss Jennifer Lopez tried to spin the block, and I guess it's because she has been in so many relationships already, and she had what, like three marriages before Ben Affleck, three marriage failures. And I don't even like that term marriage failure, because if something doesn't work, it doesn't work. But three makes it a, makes it a little bit, side eye worthy, in my opinion.
I've been married 4 times now.
Bombastic side eye. Criminal offensive side eye.
Spinning the block in this case is definitely not an answer. Never do it. The breakup happened for a reason, and it's just not worth it, in my opinion. Number 5, JLo taught me that it's very important to have a set of girlfriends. Now, I didn't learn this from her because I already knew this, but women like JLo remind me of why I need girlfriends before I can focus on finding a man. I'm not sure what friends she have in her life. I know her mom Guadalupe is around. I know she has a lot of assistants. I know there's a lot of women around her. I just don't know who are her real friends, and I don't know if she has any. And also, when you're a celebrity, in addition to not really knowing who you are because your whole life is based on what the people want from you, you also have a hard time making friends. Obviously, I'm not a celebrity, but even for regular folks, it's hard to make friends sometimes. If you have something that everybody is flocking to, like if you are the pretty girl or if you are the rich girl, it's hard enough to make friends in that case. So imagine being somebody in the public eye, somebody who can help others get to a certain level, like somebody who can literally change your life if you are just seen with them. So I can only imagine how hard it is for her to have real friends. I'm not saying that it's impossible, but I think it's fair to say that it's pretty hard for her to make real friends. I wonder if she has a set of girlfriends that she can turn to, and I mean people who are going to be honest with her. Sometimes you cannot be the one to hold yourself accountable. You might miss out on a few things. It's very advised to have a group of people around you who are helping you do that. Group of people who know you, people who are going to be unbiased, people who advise you, but your goal is to see you succeed. People who love you, people who you love, people who care about you, people who you care about. I am just not sure if she has that. To be honest, I don't follow JLo that much, but I don't recall ever reading, saying something about any close friend of hers. It seemed like she just have a bunch of celebrity friends, which don't count because everybody in that celebrity world is just worried about staying relevant. Keep a nice set of girlfriends near you. Matter of fact, don't even go dating without making sure that your relationship with the women around you are straight. Always make sure that there's a woman around you to have your back, to see things that you don't see, to advise you. It's not even just a set of girlfriends, by the way. Always make sure that you just have a set of women around you. It could be older women giving you some wisdom, older women who are not male identified and pick me, like so many older women are, but older women who are around you, who have your best interests at heart. Just women. Just surround yourself with girlfriends and women who like you, who love you, who want to see you succeed, and they can advise you for the better. But before focusing on having a relationship with men, always focus on having good relationship with a good set of girlfriends. I think that would help JLo a lot, actually, if she just start focusing on having more friendships with other women around her, preferably non-famous women, preferably women who are going to hold her accountable. But is she going to do that? Heck no. She's probably used to the lifestyle that she already has. I mean, I don't blame her. That's what she's always known. But remember, focus on having girlfriends before a man. That's probably going to play at your advantage. Number 6, I don't care what anybody says. Opposites do not attract. And when it comes to JLo's most recent divorce, that is what I saw. When I saw the little clips of the documentary when she was sitting on the couch with Ben Affleck, I saw two opposite people. I don't even know what they were doing together. He looks tired, he looked drained, he looked like that type of man who has a beach house somewhere, or a house in the, like, I don't know, in the woods or something like that, and he just wanna be out of the public eye. He don't want to be seen, he don't want to be heard, he just wanna be on a honeymoon with his wife, while she was over here talking about Jenny from the block over again, like reminding us of where she comes from or whatever. So they don't look compatible to me. I believe the people who get into relationships where they're complete opposite of one another, fail to mention that there's a lot of things that they also have in common, and they just have to respect all the things that makes them different. And at the end of the day, when you get in a relationship with somebody, you all are never identical. It's always some things that might be different here and there, but I don't believe that everybody in a relationship is just identical to one another. People just learn how to grow and love and respect each other and your differences. Some things are more important than others. If the lifestyle that you want to live is different from the lifestyle that your partner wants to live, that's gonna lead to a failed relationship or a failed marriage, which is what I think Ben Affleck and J Lo was going through. She wants to be under the spotlight. He just doesn't. She likes to party. He doesn't. I mean, I think he's still dealing with his alcoholism. It was set for failure, in my opinion. Opposite do not attract like people want to make it out to be. If you are too different from somebody, I just don't think y'all need to proceed to have a relationship. I just don't think it works out like that. Number 7, aging doesn't mean wisdom and maturity. It's a lot of older people here making the exact same mistake that some 20-year-olds don't even do anymore. And JLo is definitely in that category. Still going from relationship to relationships, still making failed career moves. We are always constantly learning. Like, we never stop learning as people, but just because somebody is older, just because somebody's in your 50s, doesn't mean they can even advise you about anything like relationships. Because I know I'm in my 20s and JLo cannot advise me of anything relationship wise. Like, why would I listen to her? She cannot maintain a relationship for more than a few years, and she keeps going from relationship to relationship, and she doesn't know how to be single. You know, like, she gets in relationships but they don't work out, and she's never single. So what exactly is she gonna advise me relationship wise? I will not listen to her and I will not trust her. Number 8, please remember, how a relationship and a marriage starts is exactly how it's gonna end. I do remember that when her and Ben Affleck started seeing each other again, they were already trouble in paradise. I believe there were already issues with the ex-wife, and he had issues with alcoholism, and they just decided to work things out. If I was in her shoes, that would have been my call to call it quits right then and then. Especially when you are spinning the block, it should be like a natural chemistry. Like, we are getting to know each other again, but there's some things that don't need to be said anymore because we've already been here, done that. And that's not the impression that I had when it came to her and Ben Affleck. It was just so many signs. I know he was having issues between him and his ex-wife. I don't know if she ever took the time to analyze what was going on with that before he moved out of your mansion. He just seemed like he was so sick and tired of her, like he couldn't stand her. And that type of energy, that type of feeling doesn't just come overnight. He's been sick and tired of her, and he tried to work things out. I know at the start of a relationship there's butterflies, especially for someone like JLo, who seems like she loves to be in a relationship and she loves to be married. Always pay attention to how things start, the red flags, the things that are not working, the misunderstandings, miscommunications, because it's not going anywhere. It's still going to come back around somewhere in the relationship. So start off as perfect as you can, because things are only going down from there. The strength of the relationship is determined by a lot of things that happen at the start of the relationship. So if a relationship is already weak and lack strength at the start of it, understand that it's very much gonna fail, or the chance of it succeeding are very slim. Last but not least, number 9, the fear of being single is killing some of y'all. I do believe that JLo has a fear of being single. It seems like she's actually very lonely in those relationships. You can be coupled up with somebody, you can be married for a long time and still be lonely in those marriages. I don't know why people in 2024 equate relationship with companionship. A lot of people have families, husband, children, and are still very lonely and depressed in those family dynamics. It's a lot of people who are surrounded and still alone because nobody understands them, or because they are not in the right place with the right people. Some of you are better off alone than in a relationship, but you continuously chase after love and it keeps coming. It's not even packaged in a way that you want, but you just take it. If the goal is to be in a relationship without thinking about the depth of things, without thinking about the heart of the relationship itself, it's very much likely to fail, because what exactly, like, is the foundation of the relationship? Exactly, like, what is the relationship for? Are you just in a relationship because you want to tell people you're in a relationship? It's a lot of things to think about, and I feel like someone like JLo really needs to be in a relationship all the time to feel whole, to feel like she's doing something, to feel like she's accomplishing something. Being single is not a bad thing. There's nothing wrong with being single. Do things by yourself. Figure yourself out. If nobody ever told you this, I'm here to tell you this right now. Nothing wrong with being single. Take a moment for yourself. Be single. Matter of fact, it's advised to be single so you can just get to know who you are without anybody disturbing you. You can get stronger that way. When it comes to serial daters, I would say being single, it's like trying a new diet, for people who are overweight or need to lose weight. At first, it might seem very lonely. You might even cry yourself to sleep, but eventually, when you get used to it, you will see how much better your life is. So, yeah, it's just like when you get on a new diet to lose weight and it's so hard to stay on task. You have to be on the 1200 calorie diet or something like that. It is hard the first week, the second week, the first month. And then somehow within the next 6 months, you see everything about your life has changed for the better, and you don't even think about your old ways because you're already accustomed to your new ways. It's the same thing for single life. For the people who hop from relationship to relationship because they cannot be alone, just take a few weeks and distract yourself with something else and watch how you won't need a relationship within a few months. It's really going to play in your favor. You really take a moment to self-reflect. You really take a moment to get to know yourself. You really take a moment to know what you like, where you belong, what you want for your future. You think clear when you by yourself. I think someone like JLo needs an alone time. I don't know if she's going to do that right after the divorce, but if she does, I think it's going to do a lot of good. Thank you so much for those of you who made it to this part of the video. I am so glad and honored to have you all here. If you guys would please go ahead and comment. Let me know what you agree with, what you don't agree with. I am always happy to read comments. And please go ahead and subscribe because a woman is trying to grow her channel. And I would be very appreciative for the people who subscribe and stick around. Even bring in your friends and family because we can all be friends here, right? So go ahead and subscribe, hit the like button, comment, and I will catch you in the next video.